giving our acceptance on behalf of the United States of America. Thank you very much, sir.
US and UK political relationship, it continues to headline the news this week. First, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer met with Donald Trump.
You have done very well over the years, haven't you?
We have. I'm very proud of our country. And but we've also always been there backing each other up.
Trump just exposed what really happened behind closed doors with Starmer, and it's worse than we thought. The British PM claimed to support free speech, while his government arrests citizens for posting memes. In a moment that mainstream media won't show you, Trump confronted Starmer directly about UK citizens being arrested for social media posts.
Which would never have happened if I were president. That was not going to happen. I promise you that. After 3 years of hellacious conflict, approximately.
The King's relationship with Trump has proved useful so far. So what do we know about Starmer's visit to the US?
How can he be a reliable, trustworthy partner when he says things that are demonstrably false on such an important time? Trump demanded. This clash reveals everything about Britain's troubling drift towards speech control.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I say thank you for your hospitality, for your leadership? We have met a number of times.
Begin the process of ending this spiral of death. I had historic back-to-back calls.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. The smiles and handshakes you saw on camera between Trump and Starmer were just theatre. Behind closed doors, an entirely different conversation unfolded. One that the mainstream British media hasn't dared to cover in detail. While journalists fixated on diplomatic pleasantries, Trump's team was methodically confronting the British Prime Minister about something far more consequential: the UK's increasingly troubling approach to free speech. Trump himself revealed the true nature of this high-stakes exchange.
Also invited Donald Trump for a historic second state visit to the UK. We understand that Melania Trump and the King remain in contact.
Conversation I'm sure we will today. And of course, our countries have been bound together for a very long time now.
We actually spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far. Trump stated, his characteristic bluntness cutting through the usual diplomatic vagueness. This wasn't some passing remark or minor disagreement. This was a direct challenge to a supposed ally about fundamental liberties. What makes this confrontation particularly significant is that it wasn't impromptu. The groundwork had been laid months earlier when J.D. Vance criticised British speech laws at the Munich Security Conference. By the time Starmer arrived in Washington, Trump's team had prepared a coordinated approach to address what they clearly view as an alarming erosion of freedoms in the UK. The hypocrisy was laid bare during their meeting. While Starmer's government publicly champions free expression, Trump's team presented damning evidence to the contrary. Specific cases of British citizens arrested simply for posting memes or expressing opinions on social media. This isn't some abstract debate about legal technicalities. It's about people being handcuffed for tweets while their government claims to value free speech. Marco Rubio's involvement adds another layer to this confrontation. He specifically raised concerns about UK jurisdiction potentially reaching across the Atlantic to affect American speech online. Think about the implications. A foreign government potentially influencing what Americans can say on platforms owned by American companies. The sovereignty issues alone are staggering.
That the United Kingdom has a true friend in the Oval Office, and it was so good to see the bust of Winston Churchill back in its rightful...
Political developments between the US and the UK, well, they have been of definite interest to royal observers.
The Trump team's approach reveals how seriously they take this matter. Commerce Secretary Lutnick wasn't content to leave things at the initial meeting. He followed up with additional discussions to hammer home American concerns. When Trump says, "We told them you can't do this," he's not making a suggestion. He's drawing a line in the sand between American constitutional principles and Britain's troubling drift towards speech control. Perhaps most shocking was Trump's revelation about technology and surveillance.
Countries when it comes to prosperity and security, and I know that together we will strengthen that even further. But look, in a moment of real danger around the world, this relationship matters more than ever.
According to Trump, Starmer's government is actively working to remove security features from Apple phones to enhance their surveillance capabilities. Let that sink in for a moment. A Democratic ally is attempting to weaken privacy protections that most citizens assume are in place to protect their personal information. Trump didn't mince words about the comparison, likening these tactics to those employed by China, a comparison that should send chills down the spine of anyone concerned about civil liberties. What's particularly troubling is how the British government seems to be using American companies as proxies for censorship. Trump highlighted that UK officials pressure US tech platforms to censor Americans on Britain's behalf, creating an end run around the First Amendment by outsourcing censorship to a foreign government. This isn't just about British citizens anymore. It's about a foreign power potentially influencing what Americans can say online. The stark contrast couldn't be clearer. While Starmer publicly positions himself as a defender of free expression, Trump's behind-closed-doors revelations paint a picture of a government aggressively expanding its censorship reach, both domestically and internationally. One wonders how many Brits realise the extent to which their government is monitoring their online speech, or how many Americans understand that foreign governments might be influencing what they're allowed to see and say on social media.
And since Trump has taken office, there appears to be a definite dialing up of the soft diplomacy by the royal family.
They can take care of themselves, but if they need help, I'll always be with the British, okay? I'll always be with them. But they don't need help.
Trump's willingness to confront Starmer directly on these issues shows a commitment to principles that transcends the usual diplomatic niceties. When he flatly stated, "We told them you can't do this," he was speaking not just as a politician, but as someone who recognises what's truly at stake in the ongoing battle for free expression. This confrontation between Trump and Starmer exposes a fundamental constitutional difference that most people aren't aware of. While Americans enjoy robust First Amendment protections, British citizens face a troubling reality where their online expressions can lead to actual arrests, something that would be unthinkable under US law. These aren't just theoretical concerns. They represent a genuine clash of values between American freedom and British control.
I've always found about the British, they don't need much help. They can take care of themselves very well. I'm not sure I like that, but that's okay. Very, very special person.
What's particularly revealing is how the mainstream media completely missed the real story. Instead of reporting on this crucial defense of free expression, they focused on diplomatic niceties and photo opportunities. The implications for American citizens are serious, with UK jurisdiction potentially reaching across borders to affect US speech online. The stark difference between these two approaches to free expression highlights why Trump's willingness to challenge Starmer matters. As the UK continues down this concerning path of speech restrictions, this confrontation serves as a reminder of what's truly at stake in the ongoing battle for free speech in Western democracies.